The escrow number ends in 8731. If he signs, he loses everything. The pen stopped above the dotted line. The room went still. 12 people stared at the open door, at a waitress in a rain-damp apron gripping a black phone like it was evidence. Her breath was loud, her eyes were hard. "Who are you?" the CFO demanded. "Lena," she said. "He left his phone in my booth. Someone called. He said to stop this deal." The CEO hand hovered. Marcus Vale, 47 floors of his name under his feet. He measured her face, then the phone in her hand. It was his phone. "Security," the CFO snapped. "Get her out." "Wait," Marcus said. The word hung there. It made the CFO jaw tighten. It made the corporate lawyer lower her hand from the intercom. The draft contracts lay open on polished wood. The signature block waited like a trap mouth. "Say the last 4 digits," Marcus said without moving. 8731, Lena swallowed. "And Redwood Entities doesn't exist on your vendor list. It was inserted at 718. Her voice dipped. "He said that." "Who?" Marcus asked. "The junior, Noah." The name came out shaky like she'd rehearsed it on the ride up. "He said he tried to reach you. Everyone else cut him off." CFO Dorian Keats pushed back his chair. The smile he gave Marcus was stiff and practiced. "She's repeating some crank," he said. "Redwood is a pass-through for currency. We looped it in for stability. We discussed this." "We didn't," Marcus said. He looked at Lena. "How did you get up here?" "She brought your phone," someone at the far end said softly. Dorian's face moved once like a flicker. Marcus saw it. He nodded to Lena. "Put it on the table." Lena stepped forward, shoulders squared, apron strings dripping onto the carpet. She set the phone down between the blue folders. The lock screen glowed with missed calls. One name sat right there, Ava, assistant. 2, 3, 4 calls. "It kept ringing," Lena said. "He said you had 9 minutes." The pen touched down once, a whisper on paper, then it slid back into its holder. Marcus tapped the phone. It refused his face. He glanced at the missed calls. He saw the last one just 2 minutes ago. Unknown number. He looked at Lena again. "Answer it if it rings," he said. It rang like it had heard him. She stabbed the green button without looking at anyone. "Hello. Is this?" "Oh, thank God," a voice rushed, a little breathless, higher than expected, trying not to sound terrified. "Marcus, no, wait, who is this? Did he get it?" "This is Lena," she said. "He's here, you're on speaker." The sound filled the room. "My name is Noah Park," the voice said. "Risk analysis, contract review. I don't know if I still work here. They locked me out. Mr. Vale, you can't sign that transfer. The escrow update is fraud." "Explain," Marcus said, calm, flat. "There were 3 changes at 718, Noah said, words tripping over each other. Escrow routing replaced with Redwood Entities LLC, account ending 8731. Facilitator fee added as a clause, 3.5%, payable on execution, no service description. And the sign-off chain was collapsed from 5 to 2 names. None of it's in the board minutes. I traced Redwood. It's a Wyoming shell, filed last week, registered agent used on 2 previous sanctions cases." Silence picked up the last word and handed it around the table. Dorian flexed his hands like he was trying to shake water off them. "Mr. Vale, this is insulting." We moved quickly. "You told us speed mattered. You cut the chain," Marcus asked. Dorian's face locked. "I delegated, as we discussed." Lena held the phone centered between contracts. She heard Noah choke down his fear and go hard. "Mr. Vale, check the version history on page 6. The initials on the change are DK 718 exactly. I screen recorded before they killed my access." "I can send it to," he stopped, breath scraping. "I can't use my work email, they're watching me." "They," Marcus said. "CFO team," Noah said. "They put me on a wellness leave 10 minutes ago." "Security," Dorian said, louder. "This is a breach." "Why would you lock down a junior during signing?" Marcus asked without looking at him. "To stop this," Dorian said. The lawyer shifted. The head of Emina scratched his cuff with a thumbnail. Nobody blinked. Marcus nodded at the phone. "Send the recording," he said. "Text, to this number." "I can't unlock it," Lena said. "It'll show on the lock screen," Noah said. "Just wait, there. It should." The phone buzzed in Lena's hand. A preview appeared, MP4. A blurred thumbnail of a screen with a cursor hovering over a timestamp. "Play it," Marcus said. Lena tapped the preview. The phone stayed locked, but the video opened. It was shaky, captured through a hole in someone's shirt pocket. A mouse flicked. A cursor highlighted change by DK. The time stamp glowed, 7:18 p.m. The escrow number ended in 8731. The facilitator fee clause blinked, yellow highlight, appended with a 2-line comment. The cursor scrolled. A file named Redwood Escrow Terms PDF came up in a side pane. Enough, Dorian said. He reached for the phone. Marcus moved it just enough that Dorian's fingers scraped glass. Something cold slipped into Dorian's eyes then. It was quick, it was there. Mr. Vale, Noah's voice said. I also recorded a call. I know it's not legal in some states. Here it is. Another preview. Lena didn't wait. She tapped. Audio filled the boardroom, muffled at first, then a voice confirming the split. Dorian, once he signs, facilitator fee hits Redwood. We hold 90. You get 30 via the Zurich conduit. A low laugh. And while they chase us, the acquisition flips. He'll settle before court. Lena didn't know who the other voice was. She knew who the second one was. She watched his mouth close on nothing and open again like he needed air. That's doctored, Dorian tried. This is insane. Marcus didn't speak. He stayed very still. For a man known for motion, it looked like something fixed him in place. How did the waitress get in here? Dorian asked. His voice came from far away. She brought your phone, the lawyer said. It sounded like an apology or a warning. Dorian stood. We're done, he said to the room. He darted a look at the doors. One of the security men shifted. Only then did Dorian remember that Marcus ran security too. Sit down, Marcus said. Dorian didn't sit. Sit, Marcus repeated. It wasn't loud. It slid through the room and cut every wire. Dorian sat. Marcus looked at Lena. You said someone called you at the diner. She nodded. He called 3 times. He was talking too fast. He said he was on the 20th floor, but then he wasn't. He said the only number left in your circle was this phone. He begged me to bring it. You left your job to run here, somebody said, half amazed. Lena's mouth twitched. He said 8 minutes. She looked at the clock on the wall. I didn't want to find out what 9 meant. Marcus exhaled once. Pure fatigue, no show. He turned to the head of legal. Freeze the signing, he said. Notify Redhart that any attempt to enforce will be met with injunction. Contact outside counsel about potential internal fraud. Flag Redwood entities for an emergency deep dive. Call the Wyoming agent. Name your price. He flicked his gaze at security. Escort Mr. Keats to his office. Collect his devices. He's not to leave the building. Dorian laughed without humor. You'll regret. The sentence didn't finish. Security closed. Dorian tried a different tone. Marcus. For years, another door opened and closed on his words. No one moved for a full beat. The air came back. Phones buzzed on tables. People typed, called, ran. Lena stood holding a dead black phone between blue folders. Her fingers had gone white. Her apron strings dripped on polished wood. She looked out of place and exactly in the right place at the same time. Marcus looked at her, and in his face was something plain that he didn't show in interviews, on stages, on glossy covers. It looked like gratitude with a bruise on it. Thank you, he said. Lena nodded. You left it under your menu, she said. You didn't see. He almost smiled at that. It didn't get all the way there. What do you need? He asked. Lena blinked like he'd spoken a language she didn't expect. I need to go back before Martha fires me for real, she said. And I need my rent to stop being what it is, but you can't fix rent. He nodded again, slowly. No, he said, but I can fix a couple of other things. He pointed to the assistant at the door. Make sure she gets downstairs without being hassled, he said. Set a meeting for morning. 9. I have a morning shift, Lena said, then winced. I had a morning shift. That too, he said. We'll see you at 9. He turned away because there were fires to put out and charges to file and a TV network ready to run a segment he hadn't authorized. Lena took that as permission. She walked out before anyone changed their mind. As the elevator closed, she looked down at the phone and realized her hand was shaking. She squeezed until the tremor stopped. The doors reflected her face back at her. Wet hair, grease stain on sleeve, the space where adrenaline used to be. She left the building into rain that had waited for her. She ran. The diner's bell clanged like it wanted a medal. Martha glared over the espresso machine. 4 tables sat themselves, she said. I hope your emergency was a meteor. He was going to sign, Lena said, dropping Marcus's phone in the safe under the counter and shoving in the little bank deposit envelope too, like somehow money next to it would keep it safe. It was fraud. Martha stared. On your break. On his life, Lena said. She was too wired to pull the words back. I'll run 4 tables for the rest of the night. You'll run them for the rest of the week, Martha said, but her voice softened on the last word. Wash your hands. By 2 a.m., the night softened at the edges. The rain had done its work. The floor felt cleaner than in weeks. Lena wiped the pie case 3 times. She put new napkins in the holder. She checked the safe twice, then locked it again. She stared at the door like something was going to walk through it. Something did. It was Marcus Vale without his tie, in the same suit, with water on his shoulders and a look around him that took in the pie case, the coffee ring under the sugar caddy, the mop bucket, and filed them as if rooms like this were a ledger where you learned the truth. Martha's mouth opened and closed. This is a diner, she said. It came out like a warning, but she meant welcome. He knows, Lena said. He's the reason I have no tips from 8 to 10. Marcus tried the smile again, and this time it got halfway. He sat at the counter. Coffee, he said. Whatever you give your night truckers. Strong, she said. Stronger than tonight, he said. She poured. He took a sip and his shoulders dropped a fraction. You saved me a quarter of the company, he said. You saved a few thousand jobs, maybe mine. You still have to fight, Lena said. They won't go quiet. He nodded. He looked at her hands. Noah told me you told him to record, he said. She wiped a clean spot again. He was panicking, she said. He needed something they couldn't rewrite. He needed someone to believe him, Marcus said. He thought I wouldn't. She didn't answer that. She set down a slice of lemon pie like it had been part of the order. He didn't touch it. He stared at it like a stand-in for other things. You don't owe me money, she said. I know, he said. I'm not here for charity, I'm here for procurement. She raised an eyebrow at that. He smiled each corner this time. We need somebody who knows when a thing smells wrong, he said. Who listens when the junior with shaking hands calls, who doesn't look at a marble floor and forget why they came upstairs. I carry plates, she said. You carry people's nights, he said. That's not a job title at a hedge, she said. It is if I say it is, he said. We'll call it something else for payroll. Martha made a noise like a kettle. Lena put the coffee pot down. I can't leave Martha with Kendra on the morning rush, she said, then shut her mouth on the wrong argument. I'm not asking you to leave anyone, Marcus said. I'm asking you to come at 9 and sit with my head of risk and tell him what he should have seen, and after that, you tell me if you want to keep telling him. She looked at the rain sliding down the window. She looked at the phone in the safe. She looked at the rent in her head. Before that, she said, I need something else, not for me. He leaned forward. Say it. There's a building on 9th, she said. My mother and 2 families I know. Investors started sending notices. The real kind and the fake kind. They don't know the difference. Give me a lawyer, not yours, a real one who answers calls. Done, he said over the last syllable, no dramatics. He took out a business card and wrote a name. Call this, she will pick up. And Noah, she said, don't make him pay for being right. He laughed then, quick, surprised. He's already on payroll at Triple and with people twice his level reporting to him tomorrow morning, he said. I don't plan to lose him to anyone. The adrenaline that had kept her upright chose then to leave. She had to sit down. She did. He watched and didn't make it a thing. He thought he was crazy, she said into her hands. He kept repeating numbers like a prayer. He was ignored until someone from a booth answered, Marcus said. He took out his phone, a different one. I've been running this company for 12 years. I thought I could hear through walls. Turns out I needed somebody on the floor to tell me what was playing. She looked up at him. It's not always your people, she said. It's the ones who think you won't see them. I saw you, he said. She tilted her head at the phone in the safe. You left that underneath your pancakes, she said. You weren't looking. He didn't argue. He took a fork and tapped the pie once. I was listening to wrong things, he said. You can fix that, she breathed out. 9 a.m., she said. It wasn't a yes, not exactly. It wasn't a no. 9, he said. He left some bills on the counter. It was more than the pie and the coffee. It wasn't an insult. He stood and put his hand on the back of his chair the way some people carry a briefcase. He looked around, like he wanted to say something about napkins and mop buckets and luck. He didn't. He nodded at Martha. He stepped into the rain. Lena counted the money because that was what you did. She put it in the safe because that was what you did. She turned off 2 of the warmers and left one on because truckers would still come. She washed the coffee pot and stacked 2 plates and looked at the door until the bell stopped echoing. At 9, Lena stood in a room without coffee stains. It had glass walls and air that didn't hold bacon. Noah was there, in a sweater that looked like it had been worn 3 days too long. His hair was flattened on one side like he'd slept in a chair. He looked at her like she was a fire escape. You came, he said. I owe you slices of pie for a month, she said. He smiled and then he didn't, because a woman in a navy suit walked in like Velocity in heels. Head of risk. She put down a stack of printouts like surgical instruments. There were 3 flags, the woman said. We missed all 3. I want you to tell me how you saw them. I didn't, Lena said. He did, she nodded at Noah. I just listened. That's the part we keep losing, the woman said. She looked at Marcus standing in the doorway. He had a tie today. He looked like he'd slept the amount he could afford. He didn't sit. They played the audio again. It made the glass walls colder. It made the light harsh. They dissected the footnotes. They went line by line. Lena spoke when it mattered, kept quiet when numbers went to places she didn't go, asked questions no one in the room would ask. Who benefits if everyone's tired? Who profits when someone's ashamed to admit they missed a call? Why are the emergency contacts buried under a username that doesn't work at 9 at night? How many juniors have nobody to run to? By lunch, Dorian had a lawyer and a new face that didn't match his old one. By dinner, Redheart pulled out with a statement about unexpected governance issues. By morning again, half the financial press ran with Waitress saves company in fonts they used for victory or scandal. Lena ducked both. She still had a shift. Martha pretended not to see the phones at the corner table. She wiped a perfectly clean spot for the 5th time. She rolled her eyes at the crash of a fork hitting tile like it certified a star landing. Don't get used to this, she told Lena. People want a hero. Tomorrow they'll want hash browns. They can't have it both ways, Lena said. They always do, Martha said. The diner's bell rang. Noah stood there, hair still wrong, sweater replaced with a shirt he had to have borrowed. He looked at the pie case like it was a confessional. Is it weird that I can't taste anything? He asked. It'll come back, she said. She slid him a slice. Sleep starts to taste like cinnamon. He laughed. It cracked in the middle and healed by the end. He pulled up a stool and sat on his own coat because he hadn't remembered how counters worked. You didn't have to pick up, he said. He watched his fork cut a line and then not eat it. You didn't have to call again, she said. She pushed the sugar toward him. He didn't use it. People never did with lemon. Marcus came by later, not with cameras, with a folder on heavy paper, a job description that had spare words and clean lines, a salary number that made Lena look down and close the folder and open it again to make sure it wasn't missing a decimal. I called your mother's building this morning, he said, as if it was an update on weather. They'll get a letter this week. Notices will stop. The fake ones too. My lawyer will go door to door if needed. She likes going door to door. Lena rubbed the corner of the folder with her thumb. You didn't have to. He shrugged like he was learning that phrase and trying out how it fit. I'm trying a new thing, he said. What's that? She asked. Doing something before a fire starts. She thought about the phone under a menu. She thought about a boy on the 20th floor reciting numbers like a playlist. She thought about her own hand, shaking then not. She didn't think about billionaire because the night had stripped that word of all its TV shape and left a man who could hear or not hear. You can keep the phone, she said, deadpan. I bought another one, he said. Try not to leave it under the pancakes, she said. He grinned then, a real one, careless for a second. No promises, he said. When he left, the buzz in the diner didn't spike. It stayed a hum. It sounded like a refrigerator at 3 a.m. keeping milk at exactly the right cold. It sounded like a life that didn't flip over when you touched it right. That was good. 2 weeks later, the news cycle ate its own tail. Somebody else fell. A different hero rose for a day. The letters stopped arriving at 9th. The junior in risk had a door with his name on it, and people who didn't hang up when he called. The CFO lawyer tried a lot of long words in a room with no cameras. Lena stood again in the boardroom that looked down on her block. She wore a jacket she didn't own a month ago, and shoes that made her taller by exactly the amount she needed to see without lifting her chin. She had a badge that let her through doors without waiting by the receptionist who judged jackets. Marcus slid a folder across the table. Inside was a new process. Emergency contacts on top of every packet, juniors with direct lines. A rule that said the person furthest from the pen spoke first. She tapped the line. This one, she said, make it real. He nodded. We will, he said. You will. She didn't look out the glass as much anymore. She still saw the diner sometimes, the bell, the mop bucket, the pie. She still ran shifts when Martha's sister was sick because Martha was complicated and pride took 2 shifts to move. She still held the phone like it could ring with something only she could hear. On a Thursday morning, a man in a gray suit from Redheart tried to come back with a cleaner haircut and a fresh proposal. He smiled like a reset button. Noah didn't take the meeting in person. He sent back a single email with 3 questions that had teeth. He CC'd Lena. She read it on her break and smiled into her coffee. When the public affairs person asked if they could do a glossy video, Lena said no, because she didn't want to be acted into a 2-minute clip. She wanted processes that worked when the room ran out of oxygen. She wanted a junior to dial a number that picked up. She wanted a CEO to look at a diner and remember. The story people tried to tell was simple. Waitress answers phone, saves billionaire, gets job. But what kept it from being a headline that was neat and gone was this. A man with a pen stopped because a stranger told him his house was on fire, and instead of throwing the stranger out to protect his expensive furniture, he put down the pen and went to find the smoke. And here was the part no one put in a banner. Lena stayed answering calls. Some were nothing. Some were cranks. Some were the little quiver in a voice that meant the thing under the pancakes had teeth. So when a courier came in one night with an envelope the color of new legal pads, and inside was a photo of the signature page with a blank line where it should have been filled, and a note that said, "You turned a pen into a break." She tucked it under the register next to a list of pie orders and wrote down the next table's coffee black. The bell rang. A trucker laughed. A phone vibrated. Somewhere on the 47th floor, a meeting started with the junior first. Somewhere on 9th, eviction letters stopped. Somewhere in a room with no windows, a man in a gray suit learned what no meant when someone who usually said yes learned to hear no underneath late-night signatures. Lena wiped a clean spot on the counter. She looked at the door. She looked at the clock. She looked at her hands and the phone and the pie and the rain and thought, 6 minutes is 9. If it rings, she'll pick up.